House has approved an East Texas lawmaker's bill allowing ivermectin to be dispensed by a pharmacist without a prescription. According to the FDA, ivermectin can be used to treat certain parasitic diseases in both humans and livestock. KLTV7's Michael Richardson reports.
88 ayes and 51 nays. House Bill 25 passes to engrossment.
That vote brings pharmacists one step closer to dispensing ivermectin without a prescription. Republican Representative Tom Oliverson argued the bill is needed because pharmacists are refusing to fill ivermectin prescriptions.
I believe we are doing no harm today by passing this legislation, and we are addressing a wrong which has been perpetrated against the medical community.
Democratic lawmakers say allowing pharmacists to dispense ivermectin without a doctor's consent would lead to medical risks.
If this was really about pharmacists not filling prescriptions for ivermectin, as has been alleged, then the bill would say something like, you shall fill prescriptions.
By passing this bill, we are legitimizing the pseudoscience and disregarding the overwhelming weight of medical evidence.
Republican Representative Joanne Shofner says her bill would allow for medical freedom.
It's important for rural constituents to have autonomy and ease of access to important and inexpensive drugs that they might need.
Lawmakers noted that ivermectin has been discussed as a possible treatment for COVID-19, which the FDA has not approved. Michael Richardson, KLTV7 News.
Shofner says ivermectin is currently available over the counter in 4 other states: Idaho, Arkansas, Louisiana, and also Tennessee.